Alrighty. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 25, 70, I think it's like 81, and Doubleshot number 2475. Here reviewing X Factor 112 to 130, along with the volume 20 of the Incredible Hulk Epic Collection. For X Factor, for these remaining issues, we have only two major writers who basically do the issues. First, you have Howard Mankey, who actually first a guy named John Francis Moore. His run was very, very brief. He took over at issue 108. His run actually ended third issue of the issues I'm talking about here, and he got replaced by Howard Mankey, who ended up being the last writer of the book before the book got canceled in 1998. And he only missed 4 issues. Yeah, there was 4 issues he didn't do, but he was the last regular writer of the book. Yes. Now, throughout these issues, we do have, 3 people join in 114. We have Wild Child. You're thinking, who the heck is Wild Child? Wild Child was a character who was introduced in Alpha Flight that at one point was actually killed by Wolverine in the pages of Wolverine Origins. I believe he got stabbed by Wolverine with the Massimosa blade, the blade that comes with healing factor. And it's the same blade that also killed Sabretooth, well, allegedly, and also killed Omega Red until all 3 people got resurrected. Yeah. Yeah, he was dead, but he's alive now. Those two actually joined. There's a couple of people who joined the team. One is Mystique, a woman who joins the team when Havoc was briefly in a coma. Havoc actually talks to Forge about this. He is actually upset the fact Mystique joined the team because the fact she's a known criminal. And he doesn't trust her, so he gets to fight with Forge. And the fact, yeah, he had this coming. And well, we also had a woman named Shard join the team. Now, Shard, you're thinking, who is Shard? Shard is Bishop's sister. Not daughter, his sister. Who is no longer on comics because basically when the book ended, they got rid of the character. Mostly put basically yeah. And then, of course, Havoc kind of quits the team. And he stops wearing the outfit he wore at the start of the series. Yeah. Yeah, first basically it's called Weekly Havoc. This actually is I think it's a quick 2 or 3-parter, I think it is. Yeah, it's a 2-parter, and of course Mystique joins in issue 114. Also, the banners of the book, actually changes. Yeah, basically for the remainder of the book, it has this thing called X-Men Deluxe. And this is something that basically, like I mentioned when I talk about other X-Men books, this is a common thing to see on the books at the time, from what I can tell. I, of course, wasn't reading at that point in time, but I do know of this. So, it's a cool concept. And, of course, they also did it where, for some reason, with issue 114, they moved the banner to the side. And if you're curious, was it like that? It was only like that for one issue. Yeah, Destiny gets involved in the series, too. And also this weird thing in the book, I don't think it's explored here, where at one point Mystique starts a brief relationship with Forge. And Forge also fantasizes being in a relationship with Storm. Here's the thing. Still after all these years, it's still written that he has feelings for Storm. Despite the fact she has moved on from him. And he himself has never gotten over it. Nope, never has. Yeah, and of course, 116, a guest appearance by, of course, Alpha Flight. Yep, Alpha Flight appears in the issue, but mostly just Pac, Amora, and Northstar. Dark Beast is in these issues. Yes, Dark Beast. You know, Beast's duplicate from the Age Apocalypse universe. Yep. He kind of in a way is like a regular villain for this book. Though he only appears for a few issues, and he mostly just appears in other books after. He only appears in 116 and 118. Actually, no, he actually started appearing in the book at 114 to about 118. That's most of exactly what he's appearing in. And also Havoc, like at one point, like, oh, he has powers and control, but he has to wear his outfit again. It's like went back to basics, but at least he's not wearing the goofy head gear he has to wear. Yes, he doesn't wear that in the book. Also, Havoc quits the team with issue 118. This is when he officially leaves the team, and he gets replaced by Shard for the next issue. Where does Havoc go? Havoc joins up with a brother of evil mutants. I'm not kidding about that. Sabretooth joins in issue 120. We also deal with a character named the Adversary. Yep. He's another villain that appears in this book. Yeah, he actually made his return at the last appearing in issue 100. He's here from 119 to 122 as a villain. And pretty much after that, well, actually, he appears in actually finished at 121. He next appears after this in New X-Men, number 21. Well, I experience on screen. You're thinking, what's this next appearance, you might ask? You think, oh, maybe it's Journey into Mystery. Nope. Is it Cable and X-Force? Yep. That was his next appearance in 2013. Yep. Yeah. And after Sabretooth joined the team, he actually is, fun fact, the last point to join the team until the final issue of the series. Yep. So, after continuing to deal with Dark Beast in here, and after a 2-part tie-in to X Factor for Onslaught, yeah, I'm skipping 125, 126 because I've covered this issue already. And then in 127, we debut of a character named Trevor Chase, who's a kid and allegedly the grandson of Destiny, which makes him a relative of Blindfold. Yep. He only appears in this book. 127 is his debut. And he kind of is a recurring character after this for a little bit, and then he just stops appearing. And of course, also, the Brotherhood of Mutants deal with the Friends of Humanity. You know, the group headed by Mystique's own son, Graydon Creed. Which Graydon, when he saw him, was like, I want these people out of here. Yeah. He wanted nothing to do with his parents. Like, he absolutely hates his parents. The reason? Guess what the reason why Graydon Creed hates his parents? He hates them because he was born with no powers. And that's why he hates mutants. Yep. Of course, we have Multiman and Pyro in the final issues here. And by 130, sadly put, we see the death of Graydon Creed. But I believe this was his first death. Yes, this was actually his first death. Now, the thing with Graydon Creed is, he's actually murdered by his own mother. Well, a future version of him anyways. Yep. All because basically step related to Destiny and Trevor Chase. Yep. So yeah, we have a death. Graydon Creed's first official death. Then he comes back in X-Force. You're thinking, wait, X-Force? Not Volume 1. Oh no. Chris Joseph Craig Kyle decided to revive him as part of this this bigger group formed by Nimrod, and like he was actually one of those biggest they brought back, and then he gets cut off again during Second Coming. And he's brought back again during events. He's brought back as a zombie for the Hunt for Wolverine, Claws of a Killer, and then once again he's resurrected in the final issue. I think it's like in the penultimate issue of Weapon X Volume 3. Actually, it's the final issue. He's brought back once again. Yep. And then he joins Orosius recently. You know, the group people who hate mutants. The group created by Jonathan Hickman that started his whole House of X is a House of X, Powers of X stuff. Who, up until fairly recently, has been very up until last year, They have done very, very little. And I do mean very little. Now with the Fall of X stuff, they're practically the main villains of the X books now, this group. Yes, which Great Creed is part of this? Of course he is. Your leaders are, for Central Column, it's Dr. Kellen Devo and Omega Sentinel. Yes, the Omega Sentinel. A woman who was once member of the X... Well, this is actually not the original anyways. I think this is a different version of her. This is actually Ultra Timely version of Omega Sentinel because the original is fine. Except she's been depowered. Yes. Yeah, the original one is not doing anything right now. And apparently the one that you see nowadays in the comic is actually an alternate version of her. All because of stuff related to Children of the Fallen. She's practically the lead villain of the X books right now. Yes, Omega Sentinel. And here are your other leaders of this group. For leaders. Some might surprise you. For Reach Development, Dr. Alec Gregor. Instructor Influence, Philog. Operation Defense, MODOK. Yes, MODOK. Firestar, who's Cold Generic, the double agent. Sociology and Methodology, Maura McTaggart. The one who hit America with the whole many lives and stuff. And he researched Dr. Stasis. Other members. Agent Grendel, Black King, who is Sebastian Shaw. Black Priestess, who is the former Black Queen Selene. Krilla, Director Vulture, who is Spider-Man villain Vulture. Guardian, yes, Guardian's part of this group. Elements of Doom, John Wall, Mother Mold, Rhino, Woodrow Pakruk. You're like, what? So, yeah, apparently the writers, the X-Books, have basically brought out Spider-Man villains to basically hunt mutants. Which to me makes no freaking sense at all. But in the case of the X-Factor issues, they're really good. I'm going to give them roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up we have is we're going over to Incredible Hulk. And this is quite interesting. We have Incredible Hulk Epic Collection Volume Number 20, Future Imperfect. Which collects issues of Incredible Hulk 407 to 419, and number 20, the Future Imperfect miniseries, the Ashcan edition, and material from the holiday special. The writers of the main issues are Peter David, no surprise there, with Jerry Novick, Frank Clovis, and Barry Dulter. The artist, one of whom basically is surprised because he still does work this very day. As a matter of fact, he's like part of Ghost Machine right now. Gary Frank. Yep, Gary Frank won these issues. With Paul Pelletier, the late George Perez, Roger Cruz, Rob Lem. And here's two other artists who still work on Marvel right now. Stuart Immonen and Salvador Roca. Yes, these guys still work for Marvel. Like, you actually find the book, if you look at books coming in the last several years, these two are on those books. Kevin Kuzmic, Paul Felix, and Scott Baffel. The cover art you saw there, on the front cover I showed you, that's Gary Frank, Ken Smith, and Veronica GT. Also the back cover, George Perez. Fun fact, A number 20, that was the last annual published for Hulk for 3 years. Until they published an annual in 1997. After he published like a handful of annuals after that, and then nothing for years until recently. Cage has annuals nowadays. In case you're curious, though, did these following runs have an annual? Did Incredible Hulk Volume 2 have an annuals? Yes, it did. It had 3. First one was known as Hulk, which I discussed already, and of course one for 2000 and 2002. 2001 was known as Incredible Hulk. After 01, nothing for a long time. Okay, here's one. Did Hulk have an annual? Did the Hulk Volume 2, did that publish an annual? Not that I remember. It never did. Never ever did. Did Incredible Hulk or Hulks have an annual? I think it did. Let me take a look about that for sure, because I think it may have. Because I'm thinking it. I think it may have. I'm checking about this just to be sure because I think it did publish an annual. Yes, it did. It published one annual. I think at the time it came out was the first annual released in like uh probably 10 years. Yeah, Hulk Volume 2 did publish a few annuals, yes, but I think that annual was the first one published in 10 years. Okay, you're thinking, okay, did Hulk Volume 3 publish an annual? Nope. Did Indestructible Hulk publish an annual? Yes, it did. It published one. Okay. All right. So, what about Hulk Volume 3? I think it is. Did that publish an annual? Yes, it did, but it was part of a story arc related to Gary Duggan's book. But yeah, it did publish an annual. Just one. Yeah, it was mostly put a tie. Even was written by Gary Duggan, but that wasn't published for that one. After that book came out, you think, okay, after the book was Totally Awesome Hulk. Was there any published for that one? No. Totally Awesome Hulk did not publish an annual. Okay, so what about when we return to a triple digit numbering for Incredible Hulk when it was like 700? Nope. What about, okay, here's one. How about Immortal Hulk? No. Immortal Hulk did not publish an annual. How about the recent volume for Hulk that came right after that, Hulk Volume 3? Yes. As a matter of fact, I actually have it in trade right now. So that annual is the most recent thing released. So it actually has annual 20 came out. There has been a total number of, let's see, 1 plus 3 is 4, 5, 6. There's been a total of 7 more annuals released since then. And of course, it's one of these multi-story annuals, which I love multi-story annuals. Now, these issues are particularly quite weird, per se, when it comes to Hulk. Yeah. And you're thinking, how the heck are these issues weird? Well, you're about to find out how I think these are weird, because one of these issues involve a guest star appearance by a character from Marvel UK. No, I'm not kidding about that. That seriously is 100% completely true. Well, starting with 407, we deal with basically stuff related to. We deal with this guy called Piecemeal. Yeah, he makes his debut in this book, and he appears a total of 9 times. And most of my appearances in these issues probably was in this trade here, and the annual appears a couple more times afterwards. He actually recently appeared in Avengers Incorporated number 6. Yes, a book that came out just a month ago. Mm-hmm. Which features a new version of the Lethal Legion. Yeah. Of course, this book also decided to publish a backup feature for the character Ulysses from the Pantheon. Yes. Now, I'm not sure why they decided to give him a feature for it, but they did. The feature started with issue 407, wrapped up with issue number 412. Yep. It's like the main book. It's like one shot stuff. 19 is actually not in this book. Actually, I think it was published in the previous volume for the book. Let me take a look about that. I think it was. I'm thinking it was. I'm taking a look right now for it. Here we go. Yes, it was. Yeah, A19 of Discuss the Race. Moving on from that one. Yeah, one character named Perseus. He actually is supposedly killed off in this issue, but he comes back. Yeah, he comes back in 412. Appears like 2 more times after that, and at the 425, he does not appear ever again. Excuse me. Yep. Excuse me. And then basically we have one of the most weirdest issues of all, 409, where Hulk takes on 2 characters from Marvel UK. Let's see if we get the issue, because this is weird. Like, really? How is this weird? Well, we take on Motormouth and Kill Power. These 2 did have comics published in the 80s. In the 90s. Yes. For some reason, Marvel decided to include these characters here. Because Marvel basically really wanted to basically make it where these heroes from the Marvel UK books did appear in basically they took place in the same universe. Gary Frank probably included Motormouth is actually the woman on the bottom. Kill Power is actually the one who's actually the big guy. Yes. Her name is Harley Davis. Yes. Motormouth is a woman. Who apparently is... I'm not kidding about that. Apparently the way people wrote this is like, oh, she apparently is non-binary. Her first appearance was actually in her own solo book, Motormouth. Yes, which lasted 5 issues, and then we have Kill Power. Who was the guy on the cover. And he is sadly no longer alive. Yes. Yeah, by the way, their appearance in 409, that comes between issues where they appeared in the series Battle Tide. Yes, Battle Tide, which is a book where Kill Power teamed up with Death's Head. Yes, I am not kidding about that. Death's Head. Well, another version of Death's Head, that is. Yes. Now, those who know, you're probably thinking, Nick, who the heck is Death's Head? Death's Head is a mercenary who first appeared in a Doctor Who comic and then popped up in a Transformers comic because originally he was bigger in Transformers. This is what I've heard about this character. Is that he was supposed to appear in Transformers first, but because Marvel liked the character so much, they did not want Hasbro to own this character. So he debuted in Doctor Who first as the character Doctor dropped off, and then he popped up in Transformers, and he's part of semi-been part of Marvel Universe since then. Think of him as more of a serious version of Lobo. That's what Death's Head is. He's a mercenary for hire. Yes. Now, I'm not sure why in the world they decided to include these 2 here for, but they did. And, of course, they also have to deal with the return of freaking Madman. You're thinking, who the heck is Madman, you might ask? Madman is the leader's brother. Yeah, he made a return in these issues. Philip Stern is his name. Yeah, he actually last appeared in Incredible Hulk 367, which was the Countdown storyline. After this 3-parter, he next appears in the Hulk Annual. And then after he appears in Cyber Hulk number 1, which I think that's in the very next volume, if I'm not mistaken. I thought it was. Savage Hulk is actually in Ghost Feature, so with this book, I'm kind of... he does appear one more time in Hulk Design Madness. But that's pretty much it for him. Yeah. Yeah, then pretty much after this storyline wraps up, and then, of course, Hulk has to fight Nick Fury, which the cover is so hilarious. I know this. I know that voice. It's Nick Fury, head of S.H.I.E.L.D., at your service, Hulk. Yes. And then, of course, 411 leads into... Well, it's basically a quick 2-part where Hulk takes on S.H.I.E.L.D. for a couple issues. In hilarious fashion. Of course, he gets burnt by She-Hulk, and of course, they got by Beast and the Stranger. Yes, the Stranger. As in the very same cosmic being Stan Lee, Jack Kirby created, who last appeared in the first issue of Warlock and the Infinity Watch. And after this one issue, his next appearance is in Star Blast number 2. Now, 413 is the start of the Trojan War story arc. Really interesting story this is. It's a quick four-parter. Bob and Hulk go into space, and of course the Pantheon takes a role in this book. Yeah, it takes up 4 straight issues, wraps up in 416, and while the Hulk and the crew are off in space, well, basically also this period of time, Rick Jones has proposed to Marlo Chandler, and she is accepted. 418 is actually their wedding. 418, 419 is the wedding, 417 is the bachelor party. Yep. Yeah, 417 is guest appearance by the Impossible Man. Yes, seriously. And the guest bachelor party, none other than Silver Surfer, Jim Wilson, Iron Man, War Machine, Scarlet Witch, Submariner, Mona, Susie Burr, basically a lot of people associated with them. Because all about Rick Jones getting married. And 418 is the epic wedding, which, fun fact, has a cameo appearance by Death from Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Gary Frank is not included for some reason, and she appears in this book as a quick cameo. Like, students are like, oh crap, that's Death of the Endless. And, I could tell it's her because they wouldn't show her face because she's a character owned by Neil Gaiman. My guess is that Gary Frank must have he asked permission to use the character, or maybe threw it as an Easter egg. And this is, I think, like the only Marvel comic she's ever appeared in. I thought this was a little weird, like Death of the Endless. Maybe it's a way to promote Sandman. So Rick Jones gets married in the issue. We have many wedding guests, basically Marlo's family, Brandon Clark. Oh, and also get this, there's this hilarious image of the Hulk holding Rick Jones still while Captain America ties his bow tie for his wedding. And they're supposed like some kind of haunting with Marlo, but wedding goes perfectly fine. The wedding continues the following issue, which in 14 has the cameo by Death of the Endless. And that's a wrap up there, kind of, but not really. Now, there is also Future Imperfect. Yes, this 2-issue miniseries debuts a character, Mesmero. Yes, Mesmero. Who is Mesmero, I'd ask? Why, he's the future version of the Hulk. Yep, he's a future Hulk. Or he's like, I'm the Hulk who's smart as there is. Yes, seriously. That is the joke related to this character. Yeah. It is. It's good. I thoroughly enjoy it. It was a really fun story. It's something that would be explored in, it's like a lot of stuff related to him. Peter David will revisit the character. Yeah, basically it's Future Imperfect #1. Mesmero's first person chronological. Yeah, this 2-issue miniseries. Written by Peter David, art by George Perez. Yeah, Hulk does time travel as the future for an issue. Yeah, this comes right after the Trojan War story arc. And he appears here for this 2-issue miniseries, and then he's back to present day. Yeah, really interesting stuff here with this 2-parter. But you're thinking, okay, so what about the annual that you keep bringing up? Okay, the annual. Let's talk about the annual. The final ever annual released, for 3 years actually. The opening story focuses on the Abomination, where it focuses on Emil Blonsky fighting an alternate version of Bruce Banner known as Robert Bruce, who appears as one story. And that's why Peter David would have the Roca and Stuart in the artwork. Psychobabble, that's done by Jerry Navik and Kevin Kusick. And this is focused on Doc Samson. And his next appearance of this annual will be in Mark Presents 170. Yep. The third story, Desert Storm. You're thinking, is this a Peter David story? No, it's Frank Lovelace with Phil Felix in the artwork. And this is a story focused on the Pantheon. And then you're invited. It's written by Barry Dolter and Scott Baffle. It's mostly put basically about the wedding invitation to the wedding of Rick Jones and, well, his wife. We also briefly Arabian Night appears in the annual too. Yep. But this book was actually pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Some of you probably think, okay, what about the holiday special? That was a really fun one. And this was released in '94. Yep. Actually, it was this '93 one. Yeah. The Hulk one they took from this one is, let's see, it's Free Will, and that's done by here David and Rob Lim. Yeah, this book is just Hulk and Pantheon for a story. Yeah, focus on a couple of characters who appear in this only one story, and then they get killed off. Sadly, yeah, it's basically Hulk exploring that, and this comes between the Hulk versus Venom one shot, and before that was Hulk Broken Worlds. But really fun, epic collection. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And I have 2 more left to go, but I'm also discussing a Hulk omnibus. They're kind of in a way filling a little gap between volumes 22 and 24 because that's not been released yet. So I'm going to cover that after I cover the very next book. Because volume 22 I have surprisingly covered already, which is basically Ghost Future. So I've covered that one already, so I'm not going to cover that. So next time we discuss Hulk will be the volume 21 Fall of the Pantheon. Do an omnibus, which will cover like 449 to 459 plus some other stuff. And then come back to Epic Collection, do the final Epic Collection, do volume 24. And then I officially will be done with Incredible Hulk Volume 1 at that point. What's replacing it? You'll find out and see when basically I finish it. Okay, so that's the particular view. Who knows if I can have a video later on. Okay, next view. Bye.